Pessoal do canal Baixos e Baixarias, aqui é o Ivan trazendo para vocês mais uma entrevista de baixo nível. E cara, foi muito legal que o Warren Hirt topou dessa entrevista, a gente bateu um papo. Teve um probleminha de fuso horário, que eu entrei em contato com ele e logo ele respondeu, me colocou o secretário dele para agendar comigo e a gente teve que esperar umas 2 semanas, porque ele teve, né, cara, que dar um pulo lá na Inglaterra para gravar em Abbey Road, sabe? Já ouviu falar? Então, né? Aproveito para quem quiser saber mais sobre o estudo Abbey Road, vou botar aqui. Às vezes eu aponto aqui, mas eu esqueço de botar o card, né? Para o vídeo do Rick Beato, que visitou Abbey Road, né? Então, ele teve que ir lá gravar, né? E aí, mas na volta ele marcou comigo, só que teve fuso horário, teve troca de fuso horário. Lá, fuso horário não, é horário de verão nos Estados Unidos, onde ele mora, em Los Angeles. E acabou dando um atrasinho, então a gente não teve tanto tempo, a coisa foi meio corrida. E confesso que acho que foi a primeira entrevista que eu fiquei meio assim nervoso, assim, de conversar, assim. Geralmente vocês veem que meus papos são. Eu me apresento, falo do canal, falo do fórum, da onde veio essa proposta, o que, que a gente tem interesse na pessoa, e né, a gente fala do trabalho da pessoa, que é referência para muitos, para alguns, para nós baixistas, o que o trabalho dele acrescenta para a gente. E nessa vez eu estava um pouquinho nervoso, confesso, né? As legendas vão estar em português, tá? Meu inglês não está dos melhores, anda meio enferrujado, mas eu sou cara de pau e boto a cara a tapa aqui, pago esse mico para gerar esse conteúdo para vocês. Gente, conheçam o canal Produce Like a Pro, né? Do Warren Hirt. Ele tem uma extensa carreira gravando artistas, desde artistas locais americanos que a gente não conhece, desde pessoas com carreiras assim brilhantes, assim, por exemplo, um nome famoso, o pessoal do rock aí vai conhecer o Ace Frehley, que é um dos guitarristas míticos do Kiss, né? Ele fez os álbuns da carreira solo do Ace Frehley, por exemplo, né? Tem outros, a carreira dele é longa. Então ele tem, além de uma carreira como produtor em estúdio, ele tem também esse site Produce Like a Pro, que é o canal dele no YouTube, onde ele dá aulas de produção, mixagem, técnicas de gravação e etc. É um cara com larga experiência, conhece muito a parte técnica, diferença entre microfones, amplificadores, formas de captação de som, processamento, edição, né, masterização. Então, para quem gosta dessa parte, o canal é um prato cheio, tá? Então, mais uma entrevista que vale a pena o joinha, vale a pena se inscrever no canal, isso aí tu não paga nada, mas se quiser gastar um pouquinho de amendoim, né, e um cafezinho por mês com o Ivan, por R$ 2,99, você dá aquele apoio maroto ao canal, fazendo com que o canal siga crescendo e eu continue produzindo esses conteúdos aí para vocês, beleza? Então, bora pro vídeo, bota o fone de ouvido para prestar bastante atenção e vamos lá. And when I found out your website and I discovered your career, I came across with all the work you have been involved in the music business, and I thought, man, this is great. And I started to recommend your YouTube channel, your website, and then I started to find out that many of my colleagues know about your website, Produce Like a Pro, and of course your videos about when you dissect the songs and albums, and man, this is great work. You know, you have a whole university, you know, in your YouTube channel. So thank you for putting this all online for free.
Very, very kind. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
You started as a guitar player, yes, and then
I was yes, guitarist, yes, still am. I always say when asked about that all I wanted to be was Brian May of Queen, and even 40 years later, I still want to be Brian May of Queen.
I wonder why.
You understand? I mean, in
Yeah,
Brazil, Queen are like the biggest band in the world, aren't they?
yes, because Queen, in the music business, Queen is it's a was a turn of the tide because Queen was the first. They came here in Brazil, I guess, in 1982, before the first Rock in Rio, where we have this huge show with everybody singing "Love of My Life" together. 200,000 people singing "Love of My Life" with Freddie,
Amazing.
but before that, Queen was the first major big, band rock group who came to Brazil and showed us, okay, this is music business. This is how you play for a huge audience with huge PAs, because here was still, it was like, we were, in the music business, we were very small, not so much technology involved. In fact, 3 years later, Rock in Rio also changed everything for us. And that's why we have this huge love about Queen, especially in the music business. So and so you started playing guitar and with bands. And when was your first time you had a chance to, okay, I'm happy being a guitar player with bands, trying to get a record deal or having a record deal, but you crossed the line. You went to the contra room or started to
I think for
play with
me,
mics.
The reason I always give actually is pretty darn true, is that because I fell in love with music really, really young, I fell in love with music before there was other reasons to be in bands, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Most guys that are joining bands are like 13, 14, 15 years old, are trying to attract other people, should we say. And I fell in love with music at 7 years old because my dad bought me A Night at the Opera for Christmas. And I just remember he gave it to my dad was very, very, very British, very English. And he gave me the album, and and when he gave it to me, he said, "This is worthy." And the thing is he loved classical music and jazz. That's all he would listen to: classical music and jazz, and the best classical music and the best jazz. And so here was this band, this bunch of long-haired hippie guys, in his eyes, coming along and doing songs like Prophet's Song, Love of My Life, and of course Bohemian Rhapsody, and all of the other incredible music on that album that sounded like, to him, on the same level as classical music and jazz. So he gave it to me for Christmas and said, "This is worthy." And so I got the green light from my father. At 7, you're still sort of, wanting to be your dad. Obviously, you get older and you don't. But at 7, I wanted to be my dad. And I just remember looking at all the photos of these guys with long hair. And I remember reading, it said no synthesizers. And I didn't know what that meant. All I knew that was all those sounds, that you were hearing were all made by guitars and pianos and stuff. And so to me, that just seems so exciting. So I fell in love with music really, really early, before necessarily wanting to be a guitar player, but more just wanting to be in music. So even though I started playing guitar pretty late, I started at 15, and my father and I built the guitar together, which is just like Brian May. But the reality is my dad did most of the work. He did most of the work. But we built this guitar together because I wanted to be Brian May, and because we didn't have any money, to be honest. We weren't even a middle-class family. We didn't really have any money at all. We just grew up in a very nice area, but with no money. And my father was a painter and a sculptor. So it was always like a struggle to make ends meet. But it didn't matter because, we had music and culture and art in our life. And anyway, I was in love with the production side right from the get-go, because you're listening to like classical music, jazz, you know, Queen, and then ELO, Out of the Blue, Supertramp, Breakfast in America, and then, you know, so all of these great production masterpieces, Steely Dan, all of this stuff that was just, and then of course, all probably more importantly in all of this, all the R&B and soul and disco and funk. You know, we love. My dad, you know, started buying, like, well, from jazz we had Ella Fitzgerald. So Ella Fitzgerald, and then we with Joe Pass. So that got me into jazz guitar, but it also got me into like jazz singers. And then before you know it, I'm listening to blues singers and R&B singers. You know,
Two different
soul.
words.
Yeah,
Because when you compare production like the Crime of Century,
yeah,
you know, a huge sound. You know,
yeah,
if you use headphones, you just, you know, you're out of space, you know. But you listen
incredible
to Joe
stuff.
Paz and Ella Fitzgerald, it's so raw, you know, but it's wonderful.
Still production,
because
it's about capturing this incredible performances. So that all these different levels. So there I am I basically what I'm trying to say is I know that I was being handed the best music ever made, because I could listen to Marvin Gaye one day, Joe Pass, Ella Fitzgerald the next. Then I could listen to some Mozart, some Beethoven, and Queen. I just had the most balanced upbringing in music. I am blessed. My father just like, he had impeccable taste. And so having impeccable taste in music, it just rubbed off on me. And then, of course, you know, I get to be a little rebellious. I'm like 11, 12, 13 years old. And ska comes out, and two-tone. And suddenly I'm like, I'm dressing, you know, with drain pipe pants, you know, trousers. I took my gray trousers that I wore to school every single day, and I did it myself. I made them into drain pipes, and then I wore white socks, that my sister's white socks, and I bought a pair of used, what looked like loafers, Italian loafers. They weren't, but you know, and I got a Ben Sherman shirt used from Oxfam and a little skinny tie, and now I'm into like two-tone and ska. And it was just like, it was a great time to be into music. At that very late 70s through the early 80s in Britain was amazing, absolutely amazing, because we had punk, post-punk, new wave, two-tone, new romantics, you know, new wave of British metal, all of that going on within like 4 years. It was just insane. So it's just great music, great music, great music. All of it had massive cultural significance. It broke down barriers. It kicked through doors. It was just an incredible time. I was so lucky to grow up in that time. I think being a Gen Xer, Generation X, is probably one of the most incredible things, you know, growing up in Europe, you know, being surrounded by that amazing music, you know, being a little kid at that time.
Yeah, interesting, because when I try to recall Brazilian music scene, you know, despite all the fantastic artists that we have here, sometimes you listen to the radio, it's always the same stuff, you know. So it's really, you know, sometimes if you pass through the dial and 70% of the radio stations are playing the same shit, you know.
Right.
And that's what I recollect since I was a young boy, because my mom, I started to listen to Police, to Supertramp, because my mom had a cassette, you know, the cassette. Yeah. This was, you know, and my mom was she's an English teacher, so that's what I had to learn English anyway, so otherwise I will be. and she had.
I'm glad you did, because we can talk.
Yeah,
your English is a lot better than my Portuguese. My Portuguese is non-existent.
Yeah, yeah. Last week I talked to Yannick Guzdala, and he tried to speak some Portuguese, and because her wife is Cuban, let's keep on English.
So he knew a bit of Spanish, so he thought he could.
Yeah. It's not easy, even for us to speak. I live in the very south of Brazil, close to Argentina and Uruguay, and here people are more Spanish friendly, you know, because we're closer to the border. The exchange it's bigger than but originally I'm from Rio, and the sunny city like you in LA right now. and you know, and it's funny because here in Brazil, it's very common to when they talk about music with artists and other enthusiasts, the British music scene, especially from the zeros, 70s, 80s, it made huge impact around the globe. And you can also produce when we talk about production, I think most of the big changes came from England this time. Or am I wrong? Or I don't know.
No. I mean, I think one of the things I've noticed, with YouTube and stuff like that, is there's a lot of emphasis on the music, which is fantastic. But what they miss a lot of the time is, and I've realized this when I moved to America, is that music in America, with a few exceptions in the 60s, typically didn't have anything to do with social change. A lot of it in America was very much like, like the California sound was basically celebrating fun, celebrating being able to get in a car and drive down to the beach with the roof down and go surfing and meet beautiful girls and have a great time playing on the beach. And, I'm oversimplifying, but there was definitely less about social change. Where I grew up, and probably the same in Brazil, there's a lot of things to kick doors down, lots of stuff that had to change.
Catcher.
So it's a different cultural relevance, I think, for music
But
in a lot of the world.
It was difficult times during Thatcher days,
Yeah, well, I mean,
economic crisis in Britain, because in Brazil we have the military dictatorship. So music, the Brazilian music had a kind of protest, role, and trying to change things socially and politically. I think in Britain kind of same, because I remember to see Margaret Thatcher in some covers, album covers from a lot of British bands.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of issues, we say.
Yeah.
A lot of issues. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a wonderful time. That's all I can say. It was an amazing time for music. Obviously, like you're pointing out, we had a lot of strife in Britain. We also had a lot of, like, just before Thatcher with Callaghan, we had a lot of like austerity measures where people were being asked to work less hours, get paid less. We had the 4-day weeks, we had ambulance drivers strikes, we had all this stuff, and it was a mess. It was a real mess. And you had a lot of this kind of generation that had fought in the Second World War, to get rid of tyranny, to get rid of Nazis, quite frankly. And they were, a lot of them had died on the beaches and stuff like this, and they'd lost friends and all this stuff. And there they are, they're in their sort of late 40s, early 50s, and they're being told that they have to cut back and not have as much and all this kind of stuff. And it wasn't like anybody in the 70s in Britain was like rolling in money or anything, So it was a tough one, 1945 to 1975 is only 30 years. And so if you were 20 years old in the army in 1945 and you were in Europe fighting Nazis, you're now 50 years old, and maybe you've got kids that are like, teenagers, maybe they're going to college or whatever, and you're being asked.
No prospects.
Yeah. So a lot of things that, that weren't such as big a deal in America, and as in Europe, everybody in Europe suffered really greatly during the First and Second World Wars. So it brought about a lot of social change. And I remember in 1978 when Two Tone came out, I remember, we had the British Parliament and the House of Lords, and it was basically like 60-plus-year-old white guys in the Houses of Parliament and 80-plus-year-old, white guys in the House of Lords, and it was just a disconnect. And the music, and then Two Tone came out, and the bands looked like we looked. If I looked around my class, it looked like the band. It looked like a combination of everybody, and so it was. It was music about social change. And Two Tone's only one example. Just in general, Susie and the Banshees, all of those bands, the Damned, the Pistols, all those bands kicked down doors and, really showed the rest of the country, you know, what we looked like, who we were. It was a great time. It was a really, really good time for music. And it's not to take anything away from like bands like Pink Floyd that came before. To be honest, I felt like Pink Floyd, one of their most creative times outside of Dark Side of the Moon was, of course, The Wall. And The Wall came out in Christmas of 79. And in 1980, you know, Christmas 79 and 80, Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 was a #1 hit single. We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. You know, no dark sarcasm in the classroom. Hey, teacher, leave them kids alone. I mean, it was powerful stuff. I'm a little kid. I'm at school and I'm hearing this song. Every kid, whether they're into two-tone or punk or new wave or whatever, was like this. It spoke to them. It was a big deal. You know, music had a different feeling in for us in Britain. It was definitely social change, culture. You know, the way David Bowie dressed influenced everybody. You know, I remember when fashion came out. And the Human League were big as well. And they used to have, Phil Oakey had that haircut that was cut from one side. The girls started doing these lopsided hot haircuts. And I remember being at school as a little kid and these two girls walking down the corridor and these guys walked past and went, fashion, turn to the left, fashion, ooh. And, you know, it was just such a great time, you know, like 11, 12, 13-year-old kids, like starting to like dress a certain way. And, it's there's a movie there somewhere, my friend. There's a movie. I've got to make a movie on it.
Yeah, and hearing you talking about this, and I was born in 79, so.
Oh, you were born in the years I'm talking about.
Yeah, and
I got 10 years on you.
Yeah, and can you know, it's incredible how the all those changes in this music scene and fueled by this problematic social scenario and how this had a huge impact all over Europe, even in Japan and Asia, and of course in America in a lot of ways. You know, it's incredible. It's incredible, and then being having this passion and being a testimony of all these changes, and you said I must take part of this, and so playing about. Did you, as a guitar player, as a guitarist, did you have a record deal? Did your band?
Many, I had many record deals over the years. I had about five. I had about 5 different record deals. So the first one was so there's a lot to talk about. So when I was 16, 17 years old, I moved to the north of England, and I played in club bands up there, and I would do covers. I always tell people that Brian May taught me to play guitar, meaning I wanted to be guitar because of Brian May. But the person that gave me a career was Nile Rodgers, because Nile Rodgers played in all those, I'm grabbing a guitar, you know, all those great funk bands. Obviously, you know, he had Chic, Sledge. And so you know, that was all what I grew up touring. So there I was like, you know, 17 years old, playing Chic and Sister Sledge songs, you know, all these funk songs, and also playing like Police and all that kind of stuff.
Huge arpeggios.
All of that stuff. And it was just amazing. It was a wonderful, wonderful time to do music. And
when you did your first 10,000 hours, you know.
Yep. So
do you think this experience is necessary for a good producer? Sorry for making a huge
to be honest, to spend.
Of course, this is complicated because we have famous producers that doesn't understand at all.
Oh, I've worked with producers that wouldn't know an A major from a C minor. They don't even hear major and minor chord changes. No, and a lot of them are very wealthy, and you know, it's all they have a different skill set, and they also have a different. We don't even want to get into that. The old world of the old world of producers can be quite different. For every George Martin that could play piano beautifully and had an incredible ear and could read and write music and was incredible, for every George Martin, there was plenty of people that had no musical ability whatsoever. But because the old school producer from the 50s and 60s was somebody that basically put the session together, hired the players, booked the studio, all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, that was a big part of production in the first place. And it's still a big part of it, you know, being organized and making stuff happen. But those people weren't always necessarily, you know, musical. Some of them ended up being songwriters, you know, getting songwriting, but they wouldn't. I think there's a famous case, isn't there, about a producer or label owner? You might be able to remember the name of this, who was being sued because he had put himself down as a writer on the song.
The credits, yeah.
And they were in court, and the lawyer said, "Can you sing the song?" And of course he couldn't sing the song, couldn't remember the lyrics. You know, it's just, that's the sort of place we're in. So I don't think you necessarily have to have an amazing musical ear, but you have to have some taste, and you have to have the ability to get great performances out of people and know when it's a great performance. But I do agree what you're implying. I think being a really good musician and having done what I did, which is spent the first 2 years touring as a teenager, playing shows in clubs and pubs all over the country, especially in the north of England. And then when I came back down south, I was playing in a covers band, and we would go and tour American air bases, and we had original songs as well. So we were like writing our own songs and touring. I was great. I mean, it meant I could do music for a living. You know, I got paid to do music. Was it my own music? Not very often. I was mainly doing covers, but I was doing music. So, and I was learning great guitar parts from great guitar players like the amazing Nile Rodgers. You know, like I said, Brian May inspired me to play music. Nile Rodgers gave me a career, because if it hadn't been me copying Nile Rodgers' funk guitar riffs, I wouldn't have got paid. I wouldn't have got a gig. Most people weren't doing funk guitar like that when I was, you know, even though it was popular, that wasn't, everybody wanted to be a rock guitar player. Yeah. And even though I learned to do all of the shreddy stuff, you know, all of the, I don't have a pick, but you know, even though I learned all that stuff,
it doesn't pay the bills. Yeah,
exactly, didn't pay the bills. The bread and butter was like being a really good funk rhythm guitar player is what got me the gigs, and it was a lot of fun, you know.
And this is the opposite. What we see today on the internet, you see thousands of shredders from every corner of the globe, and then you if you find some video of Steve Lukather talking about guitar, he will say, okay, 80% of my stuff that I recorded was just dumb shit, as he says. It was just rhythm guitar and genius, simple, you know, choosing when not to play.
Agree.
You know, it's totally different from all those, you know, and that's something that I think social media has. This new generation has a lot to learn. Have you been working with young musicians, and it's been a new difference, has been a challenge to work with this new generation, comparing to the, you know, your back experience?
I don't think so. I think we're in a really good place. I think we have. I think we're in a really good place. I think, you know, my son's 16 and his favorite band is Steely Dan. So he loves musicality.
Well, you know? He's your son.
Yeah, but you know, I was talking. We had a dinner at UAD last NAMM with me, Christian Kohler, you know, the great Christian Kohler, Rick Beato and Rhett Shull, and Rick was complaining that his kids don't like great music. They only like modern kind of beep, bop, bop, bop music. And I don't know. I don't know if the parent really drives that, you know. I like jazz and blues and classic rock and a lot of classical music. And so does my son. but then I think probably I don't force it down him. I don't tell him that. Maybe that's what the difference. I don't know what the difference is, but my point is, I think kids find their own way. They find their own way, and they love what they love. And I always had a wonderful time with music with Charlie. And when we're driving, we listen to all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah. In the end, you will always have this huge pop market, and
Right.
at least here in Brazil, and some like rock here in Brazil became a niche, just like jazz, just like fusion, and
Right.
it's.
I always felt like Brazilians do love kind of virtuosity though, because I worked with a Brazilian rock band, trying to remember when, maybe 20 years ago.
Remember
And
the
the
name?
guitar, I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure I'll remember
Okay.
later. But I've worked with a lot of Latin-based bands. Now, obviously, for people who are listening to this that don't understand this, which I'm sure you hear all the time, is they don't realize that Brazilians speak Portuguese, not Spanish. So I know that. Obviously, you're Brazilian, but it's quite funny that not everybody knows that. So they don't have quite the same. You don't have quite the same crossover audience.
No,
So there is some music that crosses over, but not. I feel like I find the Brazilians.
Brazil is totally independent from the rest of South America and
Exactly.
Latin America. The language makes a huge difference.
Agreed.
You're
100% right.
You hear cumbia from Argentina to Colombia, the same songs and same rhythms, cumbia and other. And here we have our own music, because here Brazil is so huge. We have so many different Brazils inside of Brazil, and with their own music genres, and it's amazing. And sometimes for us to play some Brazilian rhythms, it's so difficult. Oh, we can play samba, and then you go to Baião or forró, it's completely different. You have to be born in such an environment, to get in the air since you're a kid, to play this naturally. Otherwise, you're just like a gringo dancing samba, here in the Carnival in Rio. That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, hit me with a couple of questions.
Yeah, I have some. And first of all, I do recommend your YouTube channel, of course, your site, Produce Like a Pro, for everybody in the bass forum, and especially in your YouTube channel, that I checked several videos of you talking about bass production, getting great bass sounds. And I fell in love for your Pive. You still have this Pive?
I love the PVT-40. Yeah, it's a fantastic bass.
I think I saw one for selling here in Brazil. I got crazy. The guy was selling for the same price of a Fender Mexican.
Wow.
Oh. And I would like to get you some more technical questions here. And what about DI, the DI choices, and when you do you have your own DIs, or do you ask the bass player to bring what they feel comfortable playing with?
I think if you're a session player, you have a DI that you love. You have one you love, and there's tons of different ones. Yeah, most session players I know turn up with a really amazing sounding DI, and then you just plug in a cable and off you go. Now, as far as DIs that sound good, there's so many. You could argue that a Countryman is still one of the best sounding DIs. It's clean, it's simple, it sounds great. Now you can also get into like radial DIs, which they have many, which are built to pretty much withstand a nuclear blast. a nuclear blast, and you could just, yeah, you could run a truck over a radial DI and it would still work. Yeah, and they sound phenomenal, and they make all kinds of different ones. They make active ones and passive ones. I have a Demeter, which is a tube DI Demeter one, and that sounds fantastic as well. I have BAE ones, a Val Garay one. That's got a transformer in it. Sounds great. My favorite DI, I have a Rupert Neve one, which is also great. But my favorite DI, if I only had one input on a bass, only one input, just plug it in, is the Acme. I love the Acme DI. It is absolutely superb. It's just got a big transformer in it. It's based on the original Motown DI. They reversed engineered one of them. They got the transformer, reversed engineered it, and it's just beautiful sounding. And it's what James Jamerson would have used. You just literally plug into it, and it's amazing.
Oh, I wonder if we could also recreate the hook.
Oh, recreate James Jameson's playing. Yeah, that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah, but and amplifications, do you often use in amplifiers, or the classic ones, the
I do. I have a new Ampeg B15, not an original one, but I have a new one, and that's still, I think, the standard. Yeah, I think the B15 is still the standard.
And then you always will blend 50-50, or depends on the gain.
Depends. It depends. I do like the DI, especially the Demeter one for the low end, because it's super clean and doesn't distort. I really do like that. So I'll use that. And then I love I love that. I will say, it really is it's all about preference, but there's something I love about a clean DI and then using the amp for the personality. So what I'll do is I'll take the DI and roll off the high end, and then take the amp and roll off the low end, and then pull them both together, and you get a lovely, beautiful, round, clean low end from the Acme DI, and then you get all the personality from the Ampeg for like the mid range and above.
And in this setup, in the Ampeg, you do in the head, or you do this in the plugins, or
I do this on EQ at the mix stage. Yeah.
Okay. And to get a growl, or growl sound.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
do you have, when you hire or invite a session, the bass player, and what the attributes you think, his playing, his
a great bass
kind of sound of he will add to the kind of music you're recording, and some ideas about that.
Sort of all of the above. I really am looking. I'm really looking for a bass player to, for me, it's like, what can they bring personality wise? Because if it's just framing the notes, just boom, boom, just ground, just following the chords, I'll probably do that myself. Yeah. I mean, I'm a good bass player. I play a lot of bass. But if I want somebody who's got like a certain groove and a feel, then I'll hire them, and I want personality. Otherwise, I'll just play it myself. So to me, if you're a bass player, be able to do the basics, but also be able to bring a lot of personality to it.
And I'm not comparing here, but when I saw the videos you made with oh geez, how can I forget his name? Mr. Big Bass Player.
Oh, Billy Sheehan.
Yeah, Sheehan. Oh, come on, I can't believe I will record this.
That's all right.
And Billy was, when you mentioned personality, I remember his video and the way he put some notes and make his bass with this huge pickup in the neck, making room, and then I saw your head doing that's it. and I think that's personality. But for example, of course, again, I'm not comparing. You have Sean Hurley, who is an amazing session bass player, but sometimes I heard some of his playing. It's more, it doesn't give this, like Sheehan. How can
Well, I mean,
how can you
I think,
deal with such different personalities? I'm not
well, I
telling
mean,
that Sean doesn't have personality, but he brings a different personality to the song, for
well,
sure.
Sean is like, when you're working with some of the great session players, of which of course Sean Hurley is a great session player, that they know how to play exactly the right thing. Within 5 minutes, they're playing exactly the right thing. With somebody like Billy, he's going to play very stylistically and shine, have a ton of personality. You wouldn't hire Billy to come in there and just go boom boom. He could do it, don't get me wrong. You'd hire Billy to be you know what I mean? It's horses for courses. It's getting the right player for the right job. Sometimes being a really good producer is just doing that. It's just hiring the right person and putting them in the right place at the right job at the right time, and you'll get an amazing result. And other times it's a case of of creating an atmosphere. Well, it's always that, but sometimes it's create an atmosphere where other people can shine. So for Sean, I would hire him because that he's not going to like step all over the song. He's going to fit in the song, do exactly what's right, so the other musicians, the singer, the lead guitar player, whatever, can shine. With Billy, Billy does that, but he does that in a very unique way. He's got tons and tons of personality. Billy's been in bands his whole life where every musician is the equal. The bass player is not a supporting role. Billy's bands, he is another out there standing at the front musician. So you don't hire Billy Sheehan to just go boom, 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 boom. You hire him to go boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Because he's another sonic and visual element to a band.
It's almost a feature in the song.
Yeah. And it's just like, are you the foundation that's everything built on, or are you the foundation and also the great sculptures on the building? And Billy Sheehan is the foundation that the building is built on, but he's also lots of the sculpture. You're looking at this beautiful building and you're seeing all these arches and everything, and that's Billy, as opposed to just the foundation that it's built on.
It's incredible because as a bass player, it's not simple as that. But as a bass player, you can build a career as a session musician, and you can spot on as a virtuoso playing in a band, and then you can be called. And then I just remembered now, for example, Pinos. When Pinos showed up, and he put his Stingray fretless in so many songs in the early '80s, and it's changed the way people heard bass guitar. Whenever I lay my hat, for example, it's a wonderful song, and Pino was a session bass player, but then he became Pino, and he was in almost everyone's song. It's still possible to have more Pinos in bass history, or is just once in a lifetime?
Yeah. Pino, I mean, Pino's an interesting one, because he grew up in Wales. And which is not necessarily like that poor of an area, but he definitely didn't grow up in like super wealth and didn't grow up in London. He didn't grow up going to like incredible nightclubs and seeing the best musicians on the planet. So Pino has always been an interesting one whenever he comes up, because I feel like he must have worked his ass off to get where he got, more than anybody else, because it's easier. Well, one of the defining things, and Charlie Gillett, the great Charlie Gillett, if you ever read his book, The Sound of the City, it's a masterpiece. He talks about how struggle really creates great music. And the reason why in England, for every band that came from London, especially North London, where there was a lot of money, for every band that came from there was 100 that didn't. 100 that came from Birmingham, like Black Sabbath, or in like Pino's, situation in from Wales, come from poorer areas where the way to be successful was to break out to break out of that and become successful was a lot of work. But because you had to work harder to do that, you end up being a better musician, and it's an interesting one. I feel very, very strongly about it. I think I don't know. There's so many conversations we can have here.
Yeah. Because I and when I start to study Pino's work, and thanks God we have now Spotify with lots of with they make playlists with sessions, musicians, recordings, and this is great. It's not very accurate, but it's a nice way to, for example, you can find a playlist called Vinny Colaiuta and hear but some of his recordings. So it's very nice to hear. And when I heard lots of Pino's bass lines, it's so so unique, and I wonder if there will be another guy bringing a new fresh air, a novelty, for example, in bass wise. Do you know we have someone like this? Because if we have a lot of slap here, pop there, and tapping here, tapping there, but
I don't know. It's a big one. It's a big one. I feel like we've covered all the bases. We had, if we're going to talk about great bass players, it's pretty tough to it would be a 5-hour long conversation.
Yeah, Marcus Miller, Vic Wooten, Ron Carter, and the list goes on.
Yeah, Jaco Pastorius.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Tony Levin is one of my favorite bass players ever. Not just because he's technically gifted. He is. I saw the Stickmen a couple of weeks ago, and I got to sit next to him while he was playing. He was standing here with the Stickmen. And not only is he technically gifted as one of the greatest technical bass players, but he's one of the most inventive bass players. Not just with the way he plays, of course, playing the stick, playing with pick, playing with fingers, playing fretless, playing with effects, whatever. It's the fact that he's so creative. And that, if you listen to the So album by Peter Gabriel, I think he's on 8 tracks, and every single song has a completely different bass approach in the way he plays it and a sound. It is one of the greatest bass playing albums of all time, and it's not just because it's technically difficult or easy or whatever. It's the fact that he just was always thinking what's best for the song. I don't know if there's a better, more complete bass player than Tony Levin. But, if I want to hear fretless and fingerstyle stuff, you got Jaco. If I want to hear, Ron Carter is always going to make you cry with his melodic changes, the way that he can hold it down and also just bring in some melody to just, why did you come up with that idea? Just there's so much great stuff. Rocco Prestia, what is hip? I mean,
16th.
Yeah, I saw Rocco
incredible.
Yeah, I saw Rocco play maybe 4 times in England. When he came over with Tower of Power. I mean, there's just so much great stuff. Yeah, Marcus Miller. I saw Miles Davis. I mean, I'm blessed. I can remember all of his greats. But then John Paul Jones is an important bass player because he could at the right time play the most simple but melodic bass lines. I mean, it's.
You can hear the difference when the bass player had a more classical background, don't you?
Yeah.
He's the phrases of a bass player with a classical background, it's clearly different. The way And John Paul Jones is just amazing. Of course, he was a instrumentalist, and it's so great. Well, I don't want to
I'm going to
hold
have some
you.
lunch, my friend. I'm
Yeah,
going to go and have a sandwich.
yeah. I have to dinner. I have to pick the kids at school. I have 2 kids, 5 and 6.
Oh, mine 8 and 16. What time is it there?
Now it's 6 something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are you normally on East Coast time?
Yep.
And it's just because we're an extra hour because of the oh no, you're normally 5 hours ahead of me.
Yeah,
You're only
5
4 at the
hours.
moment.
Yeah, it was
But
5
we're
hours.
4 at the moment because of the daylight savings change. Yeah.
It happens. So, Warren,
Well,
thank you
absolutely amazing talking to you. Thanks for
so
having
much.
me.
Thank you so much for your time. It was also great for me, and with this video, and of course my other videos, I'm trying to bring to the Brazilian audience, Brazilian bass players. Most of them cannot understand English pretty well, so I put subtitles in Portuguese. This is
Oh, amazing.
you know, and this is very important for me because I want people know your ideas about production, and now with YouTube we can also translate the automatic subtitles in English too. So that's no reason to, but I will put this in Portuguese for everybody to get to know you more. And thank you so much, and please keep doing your great work. And
thank you. I really appreciate it.
A lot of friends said to me that they love your website, Produce Like a Pro, and if someday if you have one of your books and you have,
I'd love to give you one. Yeah, I haven't been to Brazil. I have never been to Brazil. Can you believe it? That's crazy, but I'd love to go there. Love to go to Brazil.
Okay, go.
Marvelous. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks ever so much. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Pessoal, espero que vocês tenham curtido mais um vídeo, mais uma entrevista aqui pro canal Baixo de Baixarias com o produtor Warren Hirt. Cara, muitas lições, muitas ideias, muitas percepções que eu acho importantíssimo trazer aqui. Nós baixistas, a gente tem que conhecer o lado de lá, né? Principalmente a gente que grava, a gente que trabalha profissional ou semi-profissional, tem que saber o que vai acontecer com o baixo depois que você grava, até porque muitas vezes isso vai influenciar a sua performance, né? Como você trabalha a linha, constrói a linha, como é que isso vai ser colocado depois, tá bom? Então, muito obrigado por assistir até o final esse vídeo, né? Espero que vocês tenham curtido mais um papo aqui com uma entrevista internacional. O canal tem essa característica e eu tenho esse prazer de promover e divulgar, né, conteúdos que eu faço essa curadoria, que eu acho relevante para a formação musical e pessoal do meu público que carinhosamente me assiste. Beleza? Já somos mais de 5.000 pessoas e agora rumo a 10.000 aí, né? E super legal. E isso aí. Agora vou editar mais um vídeo, né? Que agora tenho mais vídeos para editar, para deixar tudo pronto, porque estou gravando agora em abril de 2023 e maio de 2023 vai ser pegado no trabalho, então não vou ter muito tempo. Então a ideia é já deixar tudo pronto, beleza? Fiquem bem e continue com o groove na ponta dos dedos. Um abraço.